Welcome to the Real Estate Pros Show, where we interview real estate investing professionals from coast to coast, as well as the service providers that serve the real estate investing industry. Our goal is simple: share what's working now to help you improve and scale your business to the next level and meet the pros that can help you get there. Real Estate Pros is powered by Investor Fuel, America's leader in helping real estate investors and professionals build the business you need to live the life you've always dreamed of. Let's start today's show. Property insurance for real estate investors doesn't have to be difficult, but it does need to be there to protect you when you need it. MyInvestorInsurance.com not only provides insurance at 15 to 30% cheaper than traditional agencies, it's built specifically for real estate investors like you. You can set up an account in about 2 minutes, get quotes on properties, turn on and turn off insurance for your fix and flip or rental properties in around 2 minutes without having to talk to anyone directly, all through our portal. There's no better way or faster way to make sure you've got the coverage you need to protect you, and no more lengthy policies either. Once you're set up, you're billed monthly and prorated by the day for however long your policy is active. It's powered by MSI, the third largest independent MGA, with 1.5 million customers and more than $1 billion in cumulative premiums written. Get set up today in about 2 minutes at myinvestorinsurance.com/fuel.
All right. Hey guys, welcome back to our show. I'm your host, John Harcar, and I'm here today with Jeremy Fay. And what we're going to talk about, besides his journey in business and in real estate, we're going to talk about how he truly tries to focus on finding value so everybody can win. Remember, guys, at Investor Fuel, we help real estate investors, service providers, really all real estate entrepreneurs 2 to 5x their business. We do that because we can provide the tools, the community, and the resources to grow the business you want to have, which in turn helps live the life that you want to live. So, Jeremy, hey, man, welcome to our show.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
I'm excited to talk about our topic. I think a lot of people look out just for me, not let's see if we can make a win-win for everybody. I think that's important. But before we get into all that, why don't you tell our audience a little bit about you, kind of what got you into business and real estate and what got you to today?
I was never supposed to get into real estate like I am now. I'll say it like that. My story goes all the way back to whenever I was this really young, dumb private in Iraq. I had a guy that saw something in this 20-something-year-old kid, my platoon sergeant, pulled me aside and started talking to me about this book called Rich Dad, Poor Dad, this other book, and, all these different things, and started talking to me about income-producing real estate. And I started out buying a duplex with my VA loan that I house hacked, lived in one side, rented out the other, and it just put me on this path. And I started taking classes to become a better investor, and here's how ignorant I was about these classes I was taking. I didn't know that these were the licensing classes to be licensed as a real estate professional, as a realtor.
Wait. You thought you were going to learn real estate investing, but it was really to get your real estate license?
So I just went down to the local community college, and if it said real estate, I took the class.
Okay.
Because I was like, I'm going to become a better investor. Because everything that I had known about real estate was because it was, come about because of a book or YouTube University, whatever. I was self-taught.
Sure.
And so I was recognizing the value and, okay, let me actually become a little bit more professional with my processes. And I started just taking classes. And again, I didn't know that I was taking, a lot of the classes I was taking were the licensing courses, the pre-licensing courses to get your real estate license in Texas. And I was running into people and they were saying, oh, when are you going to get licensed? And I was like, ew, yuck. I was
Never. Like, what are you talking about?
At this point, I've got like 10 units. And so I think I'm like a big dog in the real estate investing world. And I've got my pinky out and I'm like, realtors work for me, So this whole idea, initially I was completely against it, but in time the idea just kind of slowly grew on me, and I said, okay, look, I'll try it for 2 years as a realtor. That's how long your first license is for. My first year in real estate as a realtor, I made $100,000. And I was like, oh, okay, well,
not bad.
This is coming along, and we're not bad at it, and I'm having fun. So I just kept doing it, and fast forward 5 years, now I'm a broker. I'm forming a team right now. I've had great years behind me. I've done a lot of mentorship and coaching. So it all happened by accident, my becoming a real estate professional. Along the way, of course, I continued to do my investments, but that's kind of in a nutshell.
Stop living on an island and join the #1 mastermind in America for professional real estate investors. Investor Fuel is a community of hundreds of the nation's top investors working together to build stronger businesses and better lives. In addition to the amazing community of real estate investors acting as a board of advisors for one another, Investor Fuel members have access to 100% funding on purchase and repairs for our members only, a health insurance program, and benefits and discounts that more than pays for the membership of most of our members, meaning it's actually costing you money to not be a member of Investor Fuel. If you're looking to scale your business and build a business that allows you to live the life of your dreams, please visit investorfuel.com today and book a call with our team.
How it all got going for me.
That's awesome. I mean, you don't know how many, and you kind of took a little bit of my thunder. I like to ask, like, how did the whole real estate come into play, and Rich Dad, Poor Dad? And first and foremost, thank you very much for your service.
Thank you.
So you bought a first duplex. Were you still in the military when you bought your first duplex?
I had just left the Army at that point.
Okay.
I don't know if you know the stories about what happens to a lot of soldiers when they go down range and they are married. They tend to come back and they're no longer married, and that's kind of what happened to me. So I was not planning on purchasing any property while I was going through a really sloppy divorce.
Mm-hmm.
I waited until I cleaned all that up. By the time I had done with that, I was out of the Army, and I was able to move forward as a civilian and still use my VA loan, of course.
Okay. So how did you find the duplex? I mean, how did you purchase the duplex? I mean, you mentioned you use your VA loan.
Yeah, I used my VA loan, and it was just one of those things. I don't even remember how I met the realtor that I was working with at the time. It probably started with like a Google search or something, and I actually tied in with that realtor, and she became a broker, and she was my person for a very long time. I purchased a lot of properties with her until I became licensed myself. But yeah, it was literally just one of those things where that seed was planted in my head from years ago.
Yeah.
By my platoon sergeant, and I just said, I'm going to do this. And I had a lot of opportunity to buy single family properties. Of course, my wife, got the new wife, the good wife. She was like, she was a good, you got to get that first bad one out the way.
Yeah. Trial and error, right?
She wanted a single family, and there was some challenges there in helping her to maybe see the vision that I had for our future in the way of using real estate as a vehicle to build wealth and passive income. At the end of the day, she trusted me, and she said, all right, look, if you know what you're doing, let's do it. So that seed had been planted and stayed with me. And so I knew I was going to purchase multifamily and house hack it. And I felt like that was a good first step. That was a platform to springboard off of.
I love it. Just for folks that maybe are on here and aren't familiar, why don't you explain a house hack?
House hacking, yeah, I mean, you could house hack a one single family residence just by getting roommates, live in one bedroom and then rent out the other bedrooms in your home. And you can do that with a multifamily, of course, is what I did. I lived in one side, rented out the other. The idea here is that it offsets your overhead, your expenses.
Yep.
I actually, at the time that I purchased my first duplex, I went from a 2-bedroom that I was renting to a 3-bedroom that I was living in. And because I had the rental income coming in from the other side of my property, I was able to offset my total housing expenses so that I was actually paying less on a monthly basis than I was when I was renting a property.
Yeah.
Now, from there, the challenge is just pretending like that money isn't there. You just scroll that away, have, good personal finance 101, and, shove that money into somewhere where you can easily access it and use that as capital for the next deal.
What were some of the struggles as you started buying houses? I mean, maybe even, some struggles with this house hack, being that landlord, especially living next door to your tenant.
Yeah. On that note, we tried to keep it a secret because I had a professional property manager. I was not self-managing anything at that time.
All right.
I do now. Currently, I self-manage 89 units, but at the time, I didn't want to have anything to do with management. And we tried to kind of keep it a secret. But of course, as owners, we saw things that the tenants were doing that we didn't like. They were causing damage, and there was this dog suddenly that wasn't supposed to be there. And I would quietly call my property manager, and it became apparent that the neighbor was snitching myself, that I was the
right. Yeah. The neighbor was saying something.
And so then the cat was out of the bag. Or there were other times where I would, try to just, form daily interactions with the neighbor slash tenant that didn't know that I was the owner, and they would start talking crap about the owner or something, or I would learn that things were
Wait,
broken.
really?
If you're looking for consistent, high-quality leads, look no further than Investor Machine. Investor Machine isn't just another agency. It's the most sophisticated, data-driven lead generation company on the planet for real estate investors, and serves the role of being not just a lead generator for your business, but a marketing partner that is helping you achieve your goals along the way. Go to investormachine.com to learn more and schedule a call with our team today.
So you had you had the tenant talk crap about you to you?
They didn't like some of the property management practices,
Okay.
and and by they of course they were just like, oh, the owner, the owner, the owner. Or other times things would happen and I would learn about things that were broken,
Hmm.
and I would say, oh, did you let them know? Oh yeah, I let them know. And so now I'm pissed off as
At
the
the property
owner
management.
at my property manager, so it was a disaster, and I was very happy to finally move entirely away. And now house hacking, I house hacked several properties,
Yeah.
and it was a challenge. And finally, the day that I finally got a single family residence and moved away from it, that was nice because I didn't have to deal with those heartaches anymore, for
Sure.
sure.
Sure. No. There's probably a lot of lessons learned there. So what does your business look like now? I mean, I know you mentioned you manage or you own 80 doors, 89 doors?
Yes, and it's really interesting. That's a whole interesting story that we a nice little segue to maybe get into. The These 89 doors were part of a portfolio that belonged entirely to a client of mine, somebody that I worked with. He's an investor, and I just worked with him as a real estate professional. And I probably helped him with about 60 ish or more
Hmm.
of those doors, helped represented him as a buyer's agent. He asked me several times if I would manage those properties, and I said, no, never. I never wanted to get into property management. I remember at the time I have professional property management managing my own properties,
Right.
and the idea of property management was just something I never wanted to get into. And then whenever I became a broker, he said, oh, you're a broker now. Now you can start your own brokerage, start your own property management company. You're going to manage my properties, right? And I said, no, no, I'm not going to do that.
He's trying to get you, man. He's
Man,
trying.
he saw value in me, and he saw something that he really liked,
Yeah.
and I appreciated that for sure. So finally, he came to me, and this was probably about a year or so ago, and he said, Jeremy, you're going to manage my properties. And I was like, we've been through this so many times, man. And he explained to me that he was leaving Texas. He had been accepted to Columbia Business School, which, when Columbia calls, you go.
Yeah, for sure.
And he said, I need somebody to manage these properties. He said, look, I've been reading, and you need to have your license to manage other people's property, but you don't need to use your license to manage your own. I said, that's correct. He said, okay, so you're going to manage my properties. I said, I'm not going to do this. He said, you don't understand what I'm saying to you. And he kind of broke it down, and he said, look, I want to give you an ownership interest in my entire portfolio with
Wow.
zero capital buy-in, just because I want you, and I trust you and your services that you bring and your professionalism. And so I said, well, I might do property management
Yeah,
after all.
you know what? On second thought, that's an
So it turns out
awesome,
I'm
awesome deal, dude.
not a man of principle. I can be bought. And
All right, you had me at hello.
right, right. So that was, but that's a really good story to tell, because what it communicates, and for a long time, whenever I got into doing the house hacking, the problem that I ran into was not in finding deals. I saw deals everywhere, but it was in gaining the capital that I needed to be able to put the deals together that I saw and that I wanted to do. This was a really interesting situation because somebody saw something in me. They saw that value that I was able to consistently bring over and over and over again.
Hmm.
And I was able to receive an ownership interest in a, substantially sized portfolio that, now I'm connected to for forever,
Yeah.
and at $0 buy-in.
Well,
So if you just work to bring value, value will come to you.
I was gonna say that's the story. That's the moral of the story, and it kind of goes. I just finished reading not too long ago the book, The Go Giver. Provide more
Hmm.
in value than you receive back. I mean,
Yes.
if you do that, it will come. And when folks come to our mastermind, I say, hey, be a generous expert. Give everything you know, and that'll help you come back. So what? So are you doing? Are you holding doors? Are you flipping? Are you? I think we know. I know we talked a little bit about this more, but just so folks that might be in the area maybe want to work with you, what are you doing right now? Are you doing more on the real estate side, or realtor side, or investment side?
If you're a new or newer real estate investor looking to launch or grow your real estate investing business, please check out Investor Fuel Club. It's a coaching community, but unlike anything you've ever seen before. And you can actually partner with members of our mastermind from coast to coast on deals right in your market. There's no better opportunity to build a consistent business than to literally partner with pros to help you avoid costly mistakes, avoid the need for capital to do deals, and help you eliminate your fears as you're starting your business. Learn more about Investor Fuel Club at investorfuel.com/club.
I would say it's 50-50 at this point. I mean, I probably dedicate 4 or 5 hours a day to each of those activities. I have not done any intentional flipping before the flipping that I've done. So I did for a long time. I did burring into STR, short-term rentals, Airbnb properties. I would jokingly, I'm sure I didn't coin the term, but I called it burster, burring into STR. And the and the only right, yeah, I should write a book, The Burster.
The burster.
So the only flips that I've done were the bird deals gone wrong. So I like to buy and hold. I like long-term rentals. Like I said, I've done STRs. Those things are so high intensity, high
High
maintenance.
maintenance, especially.
They
Yeah.
are so much, and I felt like I was always beholden to that guest to bend over backwards. I did some things that I would never do, even for my own clients as a real estate broker, because I didn't want, because if you get a 3-star review with an Airbnb property, you're done. Hang it up. Yeah.
Yep.
And basically I was, borderline being extorted because people would say, "Oh, I found one little thing. It was outside like a cigarette butt or something." I said, "Oh, well, we have a non-smoking policy." They probably went outside, the previous guest, and threw their cigarette butt outside, and our cleaner missed one cigarette butt outside. And they said things like, "Oh, don't worry, I took care of it. If you just want to knock 50% off my cleaning charge." And I can't say no to that because I know I'm going to get 3 stars. So that was something I kind of bowed out of, and there were some wins there and some losses, but I'm very happy to not do short-term rentals anymore. I prefer the long-term rentals. It's a lot. I mean, there is maintenance. There always are things that take from your time every single day, but I couldn't imagine having 89 short-term rentals. My God, man, I would need a whole team.
89 short-term rentals would be a headache and a nightmare alone in itself. Do you see any other regulation coming down on short-term stuff, or anything like that here in the near future?
Most that I'm seeing are being driven at the municipal level, at the city level, and it all kind of depends on your area.
Right.
For example, here in Killeen, a couple of years ago, they introduced short-term rental registration where you have to go and register. There's, you pay, of course, a tax. They want to get their money.
Of course.
But I know people that do STRs in Hawaii, for example, and their STR, regulations are a lot more stringent because of the nature of those properties. They have had recently a very high number of absentee landlords as people are just short-term rental, all of their VRBO, Airbnb, all of their properties out there, and it does have an impact on that local community. So I can understand why government would want to do that, and of course they're missing out on their occupancy tax that a hotel would normally pay. But most of the regulation that I've seen concerning short-term rentals is not being driven at a federal or state level. It's all down at the local city.
Local city, county stuff. Yeah, no, that makes sense. So where are you taking your business? Like, what are your goals? Where you want to grow to? What's your plan? Anything big on the horizon?
There's always things that are I'm cooking. I'm always hesitant to say what it is because then if it doesn't come to fruition, then I look like a jerk,
Right.
There are a couple things I'm working on. I have eyeballed a large investment property that I'm looking to add to this 89 units. It's around 100 units or more.
Wow.
That I see a lot of value in. The current owner is struggling with their occupancy. They're at about 65% occupancy, and I know that they're bordering on having some real financial difficulties. So I see, of course, where other people see problems, I see opportunity, and I've got good practices and good processes insofar as how I market. Obviously, being a realtor, I can market well, so I have applied all of that to being a property owner and a property manager, and my occupancy rating is north of 90%. So whenever I see those types of things, I go, I think I could fix this.
So, okay, and let's talk about that real fast. What are the things you do? I mean, what do you do to go raise it from 65 to 90?
There are a lot of things. I use a lot of automation and integration. So, for example, I am running Facebook and Google ads that are, of course, tied in with targeted words that work to, the little shadow ads that follow people around. Like if you ever say the word toast or Google the word toast, then suddenly you have toaster ads following you around
Yeah.
for the next month. I use those sticky ads on Facebook, on Google, and then I have that tied in with a CRM system that through some integrations with Zapier, so that as soon as they hit the button and say I'm interested, they're getting an auto reply that comes from me. And and the way that it's worded, and so much of this is about language. If you ask a person a question, they're going to feel compelled to respond. So I'm playing on human psychology here.
Yep.
I ask them, when are you looking to move? Well, they're more than likely going to give me some information. When I get that reply back, I am very quickly actively working on follow-up. So kind of I'm taking the marketing that I've learned as a realtor, kind of that lead to call time,
Right.
and I'm applying that directly to how I'm sourcing leads for tenants for the property management side of things. So that's something that I have tied in that has been very effective. A lot of times, especially people and my properties that I have in this portfolio are C grade. These are not, your top of the line. So you have to consider the clientele that are looking for tenants, that are looking for occupancy, looking for a rental like that. They're going to be the type that need a place now.
Yeah.
So kind of the lead to call time, the flash to bang, so to speak, if you can very quickly satisfy that, give people that dopamine hit, then they're going to want to work with you. And also, I'm pretty good in person. If I can just set the appointment, and again, this goes back to being a realtor. Number one, set the appointment.
Yeah.
The appointment. If they struggle with that, use, a choice of two positives. Okay, better weekend or weekday. Okay, better morning or afternoon, and kind of lead them into it. So, all of that coming together as kind of creates the synergy that has enabled me rather to move properties from low vacancy, or excuse me, high vacancy to low vacancy,
I love
and
it.
really help with the performance there.
I love your mindset.
So yeah, there's not one silver bullet. It takes putting it all together, and that's what's hard.
Yeah.
Doing the thing is not difficult. It's doing it in a manner that is synchronized and harmonious and is done.
Systemized and
Yes.
get it all get the processes down and
Yep.
get everything just
'Cause I've got
dialed.
hundreds of hours into building the systems,
Yeah.
hundreds. Staying up till 2 a.m. struggling with, Zapier technical errors and just, my head on the keyboard trying to figure it out.
Yeah. Well, but I think that too is maybe some of the reason why people fail.
You gotta grind it out.
They don't put the time into developing that. The suck, yes, it sucks. No one likes to do it. It's not sexy. But if you build those type of processes, then that it's going to run smoother. You can you can delegate. You can delegate some of the responsibilities if you have it all down in.
Oh yeah, and I have. I've got.
Yeah.
I mean, for example, I've got systems set up right now that the maintenance requests go directly to my maintenance guy. I just do a 30-minute sync with him once a week so I can yell at him in case work orders are getting too old. And the same
cool.
thing, I've got an admin that works 20 hours a week, and she does I call her the rent wrangler. She does the renewals. And so she grabs about 90% of the problems. And then the things that come to me are the big, real problems
Right.
I can fix. So I feel like I've got good systems there that if it wasn't for that, I wouldn't be able to be both a real estate broker and the property manager that I am now.
I was talking to a lady earlier that she's a luxury broker, but she also is starting to do like resort residences. And that's the thing we talked about. She's like, I'm afraid to do one because it'll take her from the other. I'm like, well, you got to put down processes. Your systems and processes will be able to take all this time over here and move some over here slowly. It'll just start going up. So
Yep.
what do you think, as we're getting close on time here, but what do you think, if you look back at all your experience, are a couple things that are your keys to success? What got you to where you're at today?
Failure. The nasty stuff that nobody wants to talk about. They never put it on their social media. The sucky stuff. I made a joke, and it's kind of a thing that I often say to myself, and I say to other people as well. There was a situation, a business that failed, and I got a $1 million lesson at an 80% discount. So, it cost me $200,000 by the time it was all said and done. It
Mm,
hurt. It sucked. It's not fun. I
mm-mm.
hated it. It kept me up at night. It probably took years off my life. I would do it again, though, as bad as it was, because it was so good to me. It was so good for me.
Such a learning
And,
experience.
man, but it sucks when you're going through it.
Oh,
And
it's
that's just
horrible.
like, don't be afraid to embrace that risk. Be that risk taker. Yes, work to mitigate risk, work to, try to move from the unknown to the known, or quantifiable risk, to figure out what it is, how you can account for it, and build that into your assumptions. But at the end of the day, sometimes you just got to risk it for the biscuit. And if you fail, you fail. That's
Yeah.
okay.
Yep.
Lose your money, go bankrupt, start again. They can never take the knowledge from you. You got all of that. So I got that $1 million lesson. Thankfully, it didn't destroy me. It hurt.
Mm-hmm.
It took me down a peg or two for sure.
Been there, done
But
that. Yep.
but that's what it is. I've never won. I've never had the perfect deal and said, "Man, I learned so much from that."
If if you ever find a successful business operator that's never failed, I'm going to show you a liar. That's it.
Yep.
I mean, failure, first attempt at learning. Before we go and sign off, any other advice or any advice you want to give to someone maybe looking to get into the game, whether it's real estate, I mean, whether it's being a realtor, being an investor, buy and hold, whatever.
I would just simply say I have seen investors and realtors, professionals quit right before they hit that threshold. And for years, I used the metaphor of 212 degrees, the boiling point of water. I learned later that somebody already wrote a book, and I was really upset by that because it could have been my book. But I've seen people they push, for 6 months or a year, who knows however long it's going to take you, but they stop just shy of 212 degrees. And it's like, man, if you had just pushed over, or maybe what they tend to do is they hold a little something back. They keep their day job because they're scared of failure, when exactly that energy that is needed, that they're holding back, that they need to propel them over. So, I guess the message here is to just be patient with the beginning of it, model your processes after people that have been successful and gone there before you, and then just stay committed to those processes. Even when you're not seeing anything, there are things working in the background and under the surface that you don't understand yet, but in hindsight, you're going to go, okay, I was cooking.
Yep.
It was working.
Yep. I love it. That's some killer advice. If there's any folks that want to get a hold of you, they're listening to this, they're maybe in your area, they just want to talk to you, something resonated with what you said, how do they get in touch with you? What's the best way?
The easiest way for anybody, if you just Google my name, you're going to find me all over the front page of Google. That gives a lot of legitimacy to me as a real estate professional. Jeremy Fay, Fay, and you'll find my number all over that. All my social media is there. That's the best way to make it easy for people, so that nobody has to remember a number. Just remember the name and Google me.
There we go. Hey, we'll put all the stuff you sent me down in the show notes. Guys, I hope you enjoyed the show. Jeremy, thank you for coming on and dropping some good stuff, man. I really appreciate that. Hope everybody up home took some good notes. Hope you enjoyed this show, and we will see you on the next one. Cheers.
Thank you. It was a pleasure.
Thanks for joining us for today's Real Estate Pros Show. You can learn more about the amazing benefits of the Investor Fuel Mastermind community, including surrounding yourself with hundreds of other rock stars, 100% financing for your deals, and members-only discounts from vendors you're likely already using that, as a member of Investor Fuel, will save you more than the cost of your membership. Visit investorfuel.com to learn more. If you're interested in joining us as a guest of this show, please visit investorfuel.com/pros to apply. You can also check the show notes for access to free resources, how to get access to world-class lead generation, and much more. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss another episode. Have a great day. We'll see you on the next show.